Hey guys, welcome back to Demon Souls. We're actually going to go ahead and spend all those souls that we had left over. So the main thing here that I'm going to do is get magic to 10 and pump up our intelligence as well. We're also going to put a couple points into endurance, and the rest is going to go into vitality for now. You'll need 10 magic to even be able to talk to the sorcerer over here, and 10 intelligence is required for at least one spell slot.
Are you here to face the demons? If so, please free Sage Frake the Visionary from the Dungeon of Latria. I will help you however I can. I can teach you elementary spells. Sage Frake is a gleaming hope for humankind, but I have not the power to save him alone. Be careful how you use it. Normally, it would not be granted to one such as yourself. I had to make an exception for the sake of Sage Frake.
We're also going over to the other side to talk to the clerics, although we aren't going to attune anything.
Oh my. How has this happened? Has God abandoned us for failing to show proper respect to King Alant? Oh, Mbasa. Back in the time that I lived below Boletaria Castle, King Alant left on some strange business, then returned with horrible demons in tow. Soon, the land was ravaged by demons and soul-starved madmen. My spine shudders just to think about it. If I did not have my miracle stone shard, a keepsake of my grandfather, I may not have survived.
Oh, you must be another disciple of God. I too am on a quest to fight the demons in the name of the Lord. May I share God's power with you? Do not be bashful. We are both cut from the same cloth. I see. You wish to train yourself in stoicism. Very well. I pray we meet again.
I have sinned. I swore allegiance to Saint Urbain, but was of no use to him. And now I have run away and abandoned his honorableness. O Lord, punish me, for I have not the strength to punish myself. O Honorable One, I hesitate to imagine your present state. Deep within the darkness, where no light shall ever shine, will you continue to pray, even in such misery?
The main thing we're going to do now is head to the level 4-1 to collect some items. But I did pick up Cloak and Water Veil there. Just to let you know, Cloak is better than the Thieves Ring, but only lasts about 30 seconds. And Water Veil, I think, decreases the amount of fire damage that you take by about 45%. So they're both just utility spells. So these skeleton enemies give new players quite a bit of hassle when they first come here. The real thing that you want to do with them is block, because they'll just chip you with their roll damage otherwise. Some of their attacks are a bit slower so that you can go behind them for a backstab, but you can also just hit them a couple times. Now, the weapon I have is good enough to actually kill them in 2 hits right now, which is extremely helpful, of course. But there is a really good weapon that we can pick up in this level pretty early on, that we're going to pick up anyway, but we're not going to have to use it at all. The main reason we're coming here is to get another Stone of Ephemeral Eyes, and the reason for that is we're actually going to fight one of the Black Phantoms early on. So we're going to need to mess about a bit with World Tendency. Another thing I forgot to mention was the fact that every time you kill a boss, you're returned to body form if you're currently in soul form. So every time you kill a boss, you're going to get all your HP back, so to speak. But of course, if you die again, you'll go back to soul form. There's no real change in that regard. We're going to skip the majority of this level for now and come back to it very soon. This is still probably going to be the first level that we do, but I'm just here to pick up a few items and then go back to the Nexus. So this is the really slow attack that these skeletons can do, or one of them at least. And the few enemies that you need to be really careful are these ones right here, the dual katana black skeletons. This one seems to be kind of like, it gets stuck after I put it in the corner here. It doesn't really seem to attack at all, but they can be really dangerous, especially the jumping attack that I rolled into. But the first item that I'm here for is that Adjudicator Shield. It's really useful because what it'll do is slowly regenerate your HP while it's on. It can also be upgraded in order to heal more HP per second. So since the fact we're two-handed, this is a really good shield to have on, you know, on our back. And it will passively heal throughout. The other item that I'm really here for is the item at the end of this passage here, which is the Stone of Ephemeral Eyes here. But we're also going to pick up some soul remains and that weapon that I mentioned earlier before we leave this area. So if you go to the right here, and of course you can go here from the start of the area, you didn't need to take the path that I did, you'll pick up some soul remains here on the right, and then there will be another dual katana skeleton. Most of the time these guys will jump at you, but this one didn't seem to want to. The damage that I deal isn't fantastic, but if you are able to backstab, you can kill them fairly easily. And the weapon here is one that's pretty well known, the Crescent Falchion +1. It's a really good weapon when you're starting out because it does very good damage, and the Crescent weapons will actually slowly restore your MP over time. We're going to head back to the Nexus for now. I'm going to go to 3-1 very briefly in order to pick up a catalyst because we don't actually have one. For some reason you can't buy one from the Frake's Apprentice. I don't know why that is. So I'm just going to pick one up really quickly. You can also get one in 1-2 I believe. But we're literally going to kill one enemy, open a cell and then leave after we get it. These sort of Mind Flayer enemies can actually be really dangerous, but since we're only just going to kill this one and then leave, I'm not going to worry too much about it for now. That one you can actually just run up and backstab if you just run from the start. And the item I was looking for was the wooden catalyst there. There's also the wizard set. I put a couple points into endurance because now I should have exactly enough in order to fast roll with adding that catalyst to my weight. And now is the time that we're going to mess about with World Tendency. So we're going to head back to 1-1, and what we're going to do is we're going to purposely kill ourselves 3 times, which might seem a little strange. So the reason for this is World Tendency kind of works in a strange way in Demon Souls, and it's kind of an abstract concept that the game really doesn't tell you about. So World Tendency, like Character Tendency, goes from between pure white and pure black. It goes from +3 is considered pure white and -4 is considered pure black, more or less. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kill myself in body form 3 times. So one was from being revived from the last boss that we killed, and 2 times from using the Stone of Ephemeral Eyes that I'm using here. When we killed Old King Doran, that dropped the World Tendency by 2, and when we killed the boss Phalanx, that upped the World Tendency by 1. So right now we're at -1, and if we kill ourselves 3 times in body form, that means we'll be at -4, which is pure black World Tendency. So I'm going to speed this up because there's nothing really special here. I also used Water Veil at the end of the last death in order to show that you do take less fire damage. So yeah, you need to return to the Nexus as well before the world tendency will actually update, but as we can see, Bolitarian Palace is now in pure black. What this does is this can open certain areas depending on if you're at pure black world tendency or pure white. Pure black world tendency will generally make the game harder, but enemies will drop more upgrade materials. At pure white, you'll do more damage in soul form, and enemies will generally drop more healing items. That's the gist of it. But in order to get certain events, you've got to mess about with the world tendency in general, which can be a pain. Which I'm wondering if they're going to change it all in the remake, because that would be an interesting concept. So this gate is now open because we're either in pure black world tendency or pure white. It can be either, but in this case, since we want to kill the black phantom that's in this area, we want this to be in pure black world tendency. There are these enemies that will spawn in. They're slightly harder than the normal Dragwings, as you can see. I got hit for quite a lot of health there. And you'll also see a crystal lizard over there, the first one we've seen in the game. I'm going to use the cloak spell here, and as you can see, it pretty much doesn't notice us until like I'm right up in its face. They are hard to hit, so I would suggest using any moveset abilities that do an overhead swing. But the crystal lizards in this game work a bit differently because they each have a respawn timer that is increased by 1 every time you kill a boss in that world. And if they run off the edge, I believe that actually decreases the counter. So if they run off the edge, you actually lose the loot that they potentially dropped. So you need to be a little more careful. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do the Black Phantom fight. This can be really difficult, especially this early on, because they have a lot of health, as you can see. So we're going to do a bit of a cheese strategy, although it is an item in the game and it is just completely usable like this. Soul Remains. Soul Remains are incredibly useful in this game because they basically guide a target to a specific area and allow you free backstabs, and they actually last a decent amount of time. As you can see, I've only used 1 so far and I managed to get 4 backstabs off of that, so they are extremely powerful. So that's why I picked up the 6 Soul Remains here. I tossed this one a little high, so we couldn't exactly... She seems to keep turning for some reason here. But you can do this fight normally. I'm going to do it a little bit here, but you can actually hit her twice and then kind of roll back and wait for your stamina to regen. You can do the entire fight like that. It's just going to take much longer, obviously. And the reason we're doing this is because killing a Black Phantom will increase your character tendency, and like previously mentioned, that's actually going to increase the damage on the Demonbrandt that we're using. I'm going to fight her a bit legit here at the end, but you can see she can turn very quickly. She also has a rolling attack, which is probably her most dangerous attack. I don't think that she ever heals. Some of the Black Phantoms will attempt to heal when they're low in health. I don't think Miralda here will. But as you can see, you can actually kind of space her out and kill her that way, and it's not too difficult. It'll just take much longer than what I did. She'll drop the Guillotine Axe, which I don't remember as being particularly great, and you'll see that our damage is now increased to 288 with her right hand weapon. You'll notice the character tendency is looking slightly lighter there now. Character tendency will go from +5 at pure white to -5 at pure black. You need to be really careful on these beams because there is a colorless demon soul here, but if you fall you're pretty much dead. And the hardest jump here is kind of this free fall one you have to do in the middle of this platform, and then you just kind of drop and then you drop again. This set here, the brushwood set, is the heaviest set in the game, so if you're going to try and pick these up, remember to bring up your item burden ring. If you leave any items on the ground when you leave the level, they'll be gone, so be very careful in terms of item burden and what you can actually pick up. And yes, you can't go up ladders any quicker than this, unfortunately. So yeah, that was a pretty substantial upgrade in terms of the attack rating and everything. The Demonbrandt upgrades like this, it doesn't upgrade traditionally where you bring the upgrade materials to a blacksmith and then you just upgrade your weapon. It's based purely on character tendency, and the weapon doesn't scale at all with stats. So what this allows us to do is pretty much put all our stats, apart from the minimum stats required to wield the weapon, into vitality and endurance, which is incredibly strong. Alright, so we're going to head back to 4-1 and probably just complete that level as it is now. It's a relatively short level, and the boss is very easy, especially since we've upgraded our weapon now. As you can see, it goes up both in physical and magic damage every time you go up in character tendency. One other thing that I should mention that I don't know if I did before was, for both character and world tendency, the closer you are to pure white, you will do increased damage in soul form.
Thank goodness you are safe. I was worried sick about you. We are indebted to you, for you
Thou see the soul of the mind, key to life's ether. Art thou done?
You've gone and died, have you? If you die here in Boletaria, your soul is returned to the Nexus. Well, what'll you do next? Going to just give up? That's what I did. I think I just lost my nerve for this kind of thing.
So as you can see, I'm already up to 21 vitality, which is insane, considering the fact I've only cleared 1-1 so far. The other thing is, whenever you increase your soul level in general, your defenses will go up, and they go up by quite a bit. I think it's kind of like Bloodborne in the fact that armor doesn't have that much effect, but leveling up will actually increase your defenses in general. So we're going to go through the start of this area again. This is kind of clearing stuff that I already did, but I'm going to try and grab all the items on this area that I remember about. I think I get everything. Yeah, these enemies also drop soul remains. I've never really used the those types of items in the Soul series, like the Alluring Skulls in Dark Souls 1 and stuff like that. But at least in Demon Souls, the soul remains are actually incredibly powerful. Just because they make it so much easier to kill stuff like Black Phantoms that you can just backstab repeatedly. You pick up another Talisman of God there. There is a crow that you can trade in this game, but I'm not going to do it. It's actually on this level as well, the crow. But right now I'm just going to clear out the rest of this level. I'm not going to bother killing the katana skeletons again because I've already got the items where they're sitting anyway. There is a trap here, so be careful of that because there is a bunch of arrow traps on this level, of course. I'm also probably going to upgrade the Adjudicator Shield because it just gives you more HP regen, which is always very useful. In Demon Souls you can also do a really overpowered Faith build where you just stack HP regen. There's a Regenerator's Ring that will also increase your HP regen, and there is Blessed Weapons in this game, which gives you HP regen as well. So if you stack the Adjudicator's Shield, the Regenerator's Ring, and a blessed weapon, your HP regen is actually really strong. Right now we're just taking out Vanguard again because he's much easier this time. You don't get much from killing him, but he's got such a limited moveset, and I'm actually doing damage to him, so it doesn't take very long this time. You may see the Storm Beasts here taking a shot at me with their spears. Yeah, here comes one. When they make that sound, they're going to shoot at you. I don't have any ranged weapons, and honestly, they're more trouble than they're worth most of the time, so I just run past them. I would suggest wearing the Thieves Ring if for World 4 in general, because they will spot you from further away if you're not using it. So there is hidden walls in this game, as we can see. This skeleton is a bit of a pain because I can't actually hit him without glancing off the walls. So using the overhead chop with the R2 is probably better there. So I picked up the copper key earlier in the other tower, and the reason for that is you can actually unlock the merchant over here.
You saved me. Heavens, I can't believe I fell for that trap. I suppose I owe you now. I'm Grave Robber Blige. As thanks, I can provide you with useful goods. Who couldn't do with a little help down in these parts?
So you'll notice that he actually sells soul remains, which is incredibly useful, and only 500 each. And yes, sticky white stuff, of course.
This shrine was used in a ghastly ritual by an ancient tribe. They've long perished, and now demons have put the souls to work. At least here you're killing things that are already dead, like skeletons and shadow lurkers. That's what I like about this place. Better than killing those poor, soul-starved humans, right? Better than killing... Nothing suits your fancy? Well, don't be too frugal. A bit of indulgence goes a long way.
I hate some of the placement of these skeletons in this level because they're just behind walls where they just roll into you and get free damage, basically. I just kind of have to wait until he does this attack so I can R2 from a distance, because if I try an R1, I'm just going to hit the walls and just never kill them. Noteworthy item here is the compound longbow, which is pretty much considered the best bow in the game, especially if you're a dexterity build and you use the sticky upgrade.
You scary, give Sparkly me, give Twinkly me, you trade, give me Sparkly, Twinkly.
We aren't going to trade anything to the crow yet, but there is an item that you can pick up down here. I kind of pick it up very quickly because of the crystal lizard here, but it was a stone of ephemeral eyes again. So these crystal lizards will disappear if you let them run away too far from you, or they just, after a set amount of time, they just disappear. So now we're just going to continue with the rest of the level where we left off after we picked up the Adjudicator's Shield previously. The one thing in Demon Souls that you're probably going to see is the fact that the levels tend to be harder than the bosses. Especially the Valley of Defilement when we get to that, which I personally just hate. But I think every player who plays this has a burning hatred for Valley of Defilement because it's just, yeah. Be careful of the arrow trap here, of course. We're also going to probably leave the World Tendency event for the Black Phantom in Worlds 3 and 4. The reason for that is I actually want some of the items that you get from the White World Tendency. And generally the only way to actually move your world towards White is to either defeat invading Phantom, which since I'm not playing online isn't going to happen, or beating bosses in that level. So you really only have one chance per playthrough to do it most of the time. This section can be a little awkward because the gold skeletons are quite tough, and you also have the storm beasts that might be shooting at you at the same time, especially on this narrow like passageway. So just be careful of that. I completely missed that R2. They also have combos like this, like I go in for a hit there, but he actually has a 3-hit combo. And we're pretty much at the boss gate now, but first we're going to take a little bit of a detour to kill another crystal lizard. I'm not sure if using cloak here was really necessary, but as you can see it uses pretty much no MP at all, so it's not really a big concern. And I don't really need to use the heal miracle anymore because I'm just slowly regenerating hit points. And one other thing that you can pick up on the end here is the regenerator's ring, which is pretty good. I think it's like 4 HP per second, which is pretty decent. And after all that, we're going to pick up a few more items, and then we're going to head to the boss store. The Grave Robber's ring is kind of like the Thief's ring, but it only works on Black Phantoms. So more a multiplayer item as far as I know. Another arrow trap of course, and then we've got another dual katana skeleton over here before the boss gate. These enemies tend to jump at you with their leaping attack, like that. You really don't want to get hit by that because it's their most damaging move. It can actually one-shot you if you have low vitality. And we're going to see that this boss is extremely easy, so I'm just going to let this footage play. Yeah, really, that was it. You just hit him in his weak spot until you can attack his head, and then it was literally 5 hits. So yeah, good boss. Obviously, if you didn't have this weapon, it might take you a bit longer, and you might need to do 2 rotations of hitting his weak spot. But that boss attacks so slowly that it doesn't even really matter most of the time. I'm just checking for extra items, and then we're going to head back to the Nexus, and that's going to be it for this episode. So I'll see you guys next time.